I know this week's a lot to take in, but I did want to say one thing before we get started. Damar Hamlin's been running a toy drive for the Pittsburgh area since 2019, and if you want to send any support, I request you send it his way. There's going to be a link to the drive in the description. That's all I have to say for now.
The culture is absolutely...
The goddamn run the damn Calling both games.
This video is proudly sponsored by Raycon. It's a new year, and it's time for a new you. Maybe that'll include a pair of everyday earbuds to help you relax and unwind from life. Finding a quality pair of earbuds is essential these days, but with life on the go and work from home. With a sleek look, a comfortable fit, and a style unmatched by other brands, Raycons are better than ever. Featuring 8 hours of playtime and a 32-hour battery life, there's no contest. Not to mention a ton of add-ons like different sound profiles, noise isolation and awareness mode, and water and sweat resistance. Good for me, I sweat a ton even in daily life. My electronics need to be durable, and with the everyday earbuds starting at roughly half the price of the major brands, it's a steal and a half. You can get an extra 15% off your order by clicking the link in the description or by going to buyraycon.com/Uche. You need a set of earbuds that can go with you anywhere, and that's where Raycon comes into the picture. Now on to the Sportsball. The most predictable outcome to happen since Titanic. The Titans are being left for dead on the side of the road. Considering their piles of dead, it's quite literal. In a desperation heave to feel anything, Tennessee has handed the reins at quarterback to Josh Dobbs? That dude's still in the league? I don't know what's more depressing. That he's the last resort or that he managed to actually move the damn ball. It's better than going tits up like they usually do. Why am I even talking about this in depth? Dallas won with ease, despite perpetually playing down the competition all game. Just an overall shit Thursday night of football with sloppiness abound. Kinda hard for a team to win when they amass over 120 yards of penalties, isn't it, Titans? As Tennessee falls into a Week 18 death pit, the Cowboys are starting to put some pressure on Philly. Will it matter? Probably not, but momentum never hurt anyone. Rest easy, Houston. You were able to witness a potential division winner in this contest. The Jags have been playing with fire for the past 2 months, and this game is merely a matinee performance. Next week is the ultimate showdown with destiny. Something thought impossible until Tennessee started collapsing. This game was meaningless, but statements had to be made. Not to mention the Texans are eager to gain a well-earned loss for the quest of almighty tanks. Both teams won in different ways. Nothing else to say here. Jacksonville looks deadly, but the Titans are the true test. Week 18 looms large. You may look at this matchup and see a pointless game. You wonder how David Blau is able to start a football game in the year of our Lord 2023. Yet I implore you to give this matchup some love. Both of these franchises may be dead in the water, but the glories of draft position are at stake. Auditions for next year's team are underway with haste. Jobs are on the line with every second that ticks. The dreams of an NFL career are being forced to update your resume. For you see, there is much that is meaningful in these kinds of affairs. It wasn't the prettiest game in the world, but it was played. And in the end, it's all that matters. What happened in it is unimportant. All you need to know is that field goals were kicked, and Atlanta pulled away in the end on a walk-off Younghoe Koo dagger. Even when there's nothing at stake, the Cardinals are still useless. Fire Cliff Kingsbury last week. The Motor City may have hit a pothole or 6 last week, but a little trip to the repair shop should fix all those issues and then some. What a perfect target to get ready for next week than the lowly Bears. Get your kinks out of the way and destroy the shredded remnants of their defense to a very, very convincing win. Over 500 yards of offense charging towards a date with destiny next week. They did what they needed to do in all 3 phases of play. The goal, warm up to leave Green Bay dead in its tracks. Speaking of dead things, Justin Fields. Not him as a talent, he's just lying as a pile of goop on the field of play. Bears, just start Peter Meme next week. Unless you're just trying to kill Fields for the insurance money, there's no reason for it. Detroit will take it, though. In a year of heart attacks and a complete lack of talent, the football gods chose to offer mercy to the New York Giants. It's okay, Giants fans, they tell you. We will grant you an easy, decisive victory for once. To prove it, here are the Indianapolis Colts to be sent a sacrificial slaughter at MetLife Stadium. Nick Foles is somehow starting again, and he's here to job to the stars of the show. That being you boys. You will glide above the earth itself and shine like the sun. Big Dick Nick's member will be snapped by your might, and Kayvon Thibodeau will celebrate as he writhes in pain on the ground. It's okay, Kayvon didn't know he was injured during his celly. There will be plenty more celebrating to come with this victory. New York may lack many things, but a playoff berth is no longer one of them. Just avoid boats for the foreseeable future. I think you know why. There are many examples of domination in the fictional world. The Washington Generals dying at the hands of the Harlem Globetrotters, Sonic the Hedgehog always besting Eggman, and as of late the Denver Broncos becoming the bitch of the Kansas City Chiefs no matter what they try to do. It's strange because whenever he faces the KC defense, Russell Wilson magically transforms back into Seattle form. Unfortunately, the script writers have favored Kansas City due to Week 18 plot lines. Denver has pissed them away countlessly, so Patrick Mahomes will dominate like he usually does to guide the Chiefs to victory. The Broncos will keep it tight, and even take the lead in more than a few instances in the game. But it just reiterates why Denver's in a mile-high pile of shit this year. They can't seal the deal against anyone, especially the Chiefs. When they hoped to finally one-up them, they failed in their 15th straight contest against their arrow-headed betters. Tough shit, you have to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous laughter from the NFL world. I'd feel bad, but that goodwill ended long, long ago. I appreciate that the Eagles are doing everything in their power to nerf their abilities for the sake of storylines. Normally, Gardner Minshew starting should be enough to beat a team as middling and uninspired as the New Orleans Saints. That would be in a normal situation. The only explanation I have is that Jerry Jones bribed Gardner with oodles of cash and/or scantily clad women. It's the only logical answer to how Minshew Mania became a carrier of disease. Honestly, I think Jerry Boy did it for the entire team. They didn't really self-destruct. That would involve going out to some form of sizable lead to begin with. They just didn't show up. They woke up hungover after a night of being Lawrence Taylored with hookers at their hotel rooms and lollygagged through this contest. So now not only does Dallas have a legitimate shot of stealing a division that should have been locked up weeks ago, Philadelphia is now in a state of freefall. Jalen Hurts should be back and the Giants have nothing to play for now, but I doubt they're going to give the Eagles a break. You wonder why I'm not talking about the Saints' performance? That's simple. They don't deserve it. This win meant nothing for them. Every outcome needed to stay alive failed to happen. They're fucked. Perhaps next time they won't utterly choke against old-ass Tom Brady. Tuanon is in shambles. Their almighty leader is out yet again, possibly for the rest of the year due to what is likely his third concussion of the season. He may have been struggling as of late, but when the backup option is Teddy Bridgewater, you may as well wave the white flag of submission to anyone you face. This includes, conveniently, New England, coming off several horrifyingly bad losses where they ran themselves into visible spike traps. The fortunate thing for the Patriots is that their self-destruction tracker maxed out over the past few weeks. So good news for them, it's Miami that continues their relentless downward spiral. And worst of all, like most of the losses in this streak, they do it to themselves. Mostly by means of uninspired offense and a defense that's been more than suspect on many an occasion. They trusted the monkey's paw and now they must pay the price for their wishes. You wanted a great quarterback and receivers to go with him? You can have them, but the QBs are going to be injured. Teddy Bridgewater shattered his glass throwing hand, which forced him out of the game for Greenhorn Skylar Thompson. No success will be had. So not only has Miami lost their fifth straight in hilariously embarrassing fashion, they no longer control their own destiny. They need New England to lose next week to have any hope. But do you seriously trust the Dolphins to even take care of their own business? I can't even trust them to wipe after they take a shit anymore. Washington has never been known for wise decision-making, but this week may have truly taken the cake. Last week's failure forced a QB conundrum, and Ron Rivera chose to salivate over arm talent. Carson Wentz is back in the saddle. Carson Wentz is starting an absolutely critical matchup where he's going to be relied on to throw the football. What did you expect was going to happen? He shit the goddamn bed. It's the same thing that got him booted out of Indianapolis. We're watching the death of a starting career in real time. At least it better be the end of it. If you can't do much of anything against Cleveland's defense, 3 interceptions, do you just do this for your sick kicks, Carson? Is watching Deshaun Watson lead a team to victory a fetish of yours? It looked like a mistake at the time, and every fan knew it. The team responded to Taylor Heineke, not Wentz. Even if Taylor has limited talent, he led them to wins. Something Carson cannot do. Worst of all, it may have fucked them in the playoff push. They no longer control their own destiny. This game plan felt as half-assed and rushed as Washington's new mascot. You seriously didn't call him Commander Tutty? Man, you guys suck.
Clarify, you said you would talk about quarterback next week. If you guys are eliminated today by what happens at 4 o'clock, is Sam Howell in consideration?
We can be eliminated.
Yeah, if the Packers beat the
That's
Vikings, then
right.
you guys are eliminated.
Wait a sec. Did you just say that you had no idea your team could have been eliminated from playoff contention this week? Dude, a trip onto any amateur NFL playoff scenario website could have told you that elimination was possible. Yes, get pissed at the reporter for asking the question. It doesn't excuse you from your utter lack of situational awareness, Ron. I know something you'll find on your riverboat, sir. A good, healthy heap of lol cow of the week. I need no further evidence of my claim. Just like you starting Carson fucking Wentz when the team responded to Taylor Heineke. Good news for you, man. The formula was perfect for the commies being executed. Get the fuck out of my sight! This is the first time where I have felt legitimate disappointment in the Panthers franchise. Hell, it borders on anger. Here, despite all of the chaos and ineptitude that's been on display for them all season, they had a chance to control their own destiny in the playoff race. Tampa Bay was more than ripe for the kill. They've been sleepwalking their way off the cliff of fraudulence all goddamn season. Yet be it by incredible luck or somehow bullshitting their way to pass form at the 11th hour, the Bucs escape what should be their inevitable demise. Guess what, Buttercup? It happened again. For roughly the 5th or 6th time this year, Tampa Bay followed the same script. Look incredibly lethargic and uninspired for a strong majority of the game, and then suddenly find about 15 MacGuffins and Deus Ex Machina your way to a win. Oh, Carolina had an 11-point lead in the 4th quarter. We all know Brady's gonna break his opponent like a Surface tablet. Oh, of course Mike Evans returns to peak form after looking awful all season. Of course he has 3 TDs where he makes the Panthers look awful. Of course he does. Did we really expect anything less? Carolina had the knife pressed against their fucking throat and somehow end up stabbing themselves. The scriptwriters don't want the Panthers doing anything. We can't have any hilarious chaos in this timeline. Sam Darnold just fumbles it because the Bucs defense suddenly becomes godly. Every fucking time. The Bucs are the luckiest sons of bitches on the face of the earth. In any competitive division, they'd be 5-12 as they should be. However, the NFC South is a joke and they win it as predicted. I don't think even Bucs fans want them here. Look, honey, the 2 wannabe LA teams are fighting in an affront to God. I wouldn't call it a spirited contest. It was something that just sort of happened. Nobody really took more than a glance at it. We know the Rams are awful and the Chargers clinched a playoff spot. You blink for a second and suddenly Liquid LA and the recessive genes are dominating the affair. Justin Herbert picked apart that checked-out defense with the help of Austin Eckler. With this convincing win, they've now won 5 of 6. But it's been against some really, really shitty opponents. You can't gauge much off it. Kind of like the Rams in the longest Super Bowl hangover known to man. The only title they're winning this year? The worst defending Super Bowl champions in NFL history. Worst part is all they're going to do is point to the ring. And they're absolutely justified in it. There's a reason why many people find the Minnesota Vikings the biggest frauds this side of Sam Bankman-Fried. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it's because whenever they have to play a critical matchup or a quality team, they turn into an ostrich burying its head in the sand. The perfect opportunity was there to one-up hated older brother to the east. But they were feeling generous. They chose to simply bend over and let them have their way. Green Bay was favored by 3, but that may have been out of pity for the Vikings. In trading Lambeau, you seriously expect to overtake the Packers with some random guys from HR? What are you gonna do, litigate them to death? It's how we know we're in hell. Green Bay's winning crucial home games in January. And thanks to every single thing falling in their favor, they now control their own destiny to a bullshit 7th seed. They don't deserve it with how badly they played early in the year, but I don't think the football gods want Detroit to make it. They have a special hatred of them. 2 teams sliding down the mountain pass. Despite both of their clocks striking midnight at the worst possible time, the good news for one of them is that they can keep their season on life support. The New York Jets and Seattle Seahawks fancied themselves as playoff contenders. Only one of them looked as such in front of the 12s. Spoiler alert, it wasn't the team that traveled to play. In a throwback to October, the Seahawks absolutely crushed anything that resembled a football team. Complete suffocation with offensive might and defensive prowess to keep their playoff hopes alive. It wasn't much a victory as it was a massacre. And their first victim is Mike motherfucking White. Only the good die young. And Mike's shot at securing a short-term starting role is all but vanished. The Jets as a whole could do nothing. And as a result, their crash back to reality is just another body to add to the pile of failed seasons. Your defense may be elite and there is promise for the future, but your punishment must be more severe. A marriage is a tricky thing. It may start out with incredible love, but there's a time where it may feel like going through the motions. Stressors test a relationship to the point of exhaustion. And worst case scenario, it ends in divorce. This is what has happened with Derek Carr and the Raiders. It felt inevitable that Las Vegas wanted to move on to a sexier option. And Carr has been laying some massive duds as of late. A scapegoat for the season's failure must be cast into the abyss. This Carr's being impounded. Benched for Jarrett Stidham. The ultimate humiliation. Sure, he's not the main problem the team has, but he's done no favors for himself either. Derek accepts this fate, and has exiled himself away from the team in a noble effort to not be a distraction. His days as a Raider are over. But this is probably the first domino to fall. Remember, Derek Carr was the only reason Davante Adams joined the Raiders organization. They're a package deal. Get those phones ready, Mr. Ziegler, because Adams is going to want out as well. Josh McDaniels once again running off as starting QB and star wide receiver in a year. Someone remind me how he's changed again? San Francisco is one of the hottest teams in football. The Raiders keep losing in embarrassing fashion. What does this equal? A close contest? So is anyone gonna ask how Jarrett Stidham is doing this against one of the best defenses in football? This guy sucked in New England. How has he suddenly become the reincarnation of Ken Stabler in this offense? It's almost as if the spirit of Derek Carr is still with them from afar. And like that spirit, the fact that Stidham has to overcome an extremely porous defense is also in the cards. The Niners are a legit machine on the offensive side of the ball, but I don't think Las Vegas is keen on lying down to die. They have extremely slim playoff chances to maintain. Everyone that needed to lose has lost. The Raiders have gone out to a 10-point lead, but San Fran's pretty good at rubber banding back to tie. It's been pretty standard stuff from them, but the fighting and shootouts are fierce in the heart of Vegas. Touchdowns are being traded in kind as the fourth quarter continues to wind down. The game is now tied with San Francisco charging down the field. And they're in field goal range. Robbie Gould isn't gonna miss in a dome.
Good snap. Good hold. No good on the kick. Oh, wow. Missed it wide right.
What the hell are we going to overtime? This is a mistake. Someone has to fix this.
Adams Stidham. Wobbler for Adams, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Tashawn Gibson. Oh, he's gone. Gibson down the sidelines.
At least we have some sanity in this contest. With this pick, San Francisco wins and continues their torrid hot streak. As for the embarrassing Raiders, you're done. Now get out! It will be a cold day in hell when Mike Tomlin has a losing record. It doesn't have to have any logic or reason behind it. All that matters are narratives and the bullshit of Steeler football. When you're up against the Baltimore Ravens, a few things are guaranteed. Elite defense and an offense that doesn't know how to use its best weapons. They only ran Gus Edwards 3 times. They used Andy Isabella in the red zone as often as Edwards and J.K. Dobbins combined. They didn't have Lamar, but they're using imitation Lamar like he's the real thing. Of course they can't finish them off. Worst of all, they committed their greatest sin. They went out to a multi-score lead. This is death for the Ravens. And the Steelers are in a do-or-die situation. The Black and Gold Brigade is going to fight and claw for every inch. With a surprisingly efficient running game, the defense is holding this decrepit Roman offense to nothing. And Pittsburgh does have possession with the fourth quarter ticking down. Kenny Pickett, this is your time to shine. Amazing passes to get them to the red zone and give them a chance.
Pickett, flush, pressured, throws on the run, caught by Harris for a touchdown!
The bullshit is indeed real. As I said, it doesn't matter how it happens. Mike Tomlin will not be denied his prize of a winning record. Even better, the Steelers can still bullshit their way to the 7th seed with some help. Give thanks to Baltimore for reinforcing why I don't trust them. Tick, tick, Harbaugh and Roman. Tick, fucking tick. Nothing in this game matters. Nothing. After what happened with Damar Hamlin, I don't give a fuck about anything besides his health. You can't play football after that. You just can't. Football isn't as important as someone's life. I will say no more about this. And honestly, no one should be forced to. It's hard to focus on the game itself after what happened on Monday, but there are playoff implications to go over. For obvious reasons, we can't decipher what happens with the AFC North and number 1 seed in the AFC at this time. Out of respect, I won't mention it until a decision is made. The AFC South, however, can be. The premise for both is simple. Win and in, loser goes home. They put the game on Saturday night, though. Strange. As for the 7th seed in the AFC, some form of cannon fodder will secure it. New England controls their own destiny with a win and in scenario. Miami needs New England to lose and them to win to escape humiliation. The Steelers are still alive. They can somehow bullshit their way to it with a win and New England and Miami losing. Somehow. Fucking ridiculous. The NFC East is also somehow still up for grabs, with Philadelphia being winning clinch for the 3rd week in a row. If Dallas wins and Philly loses next week, we all die. Every other division is locked up, but number 1 seed is still up for grabs. Philly should have it, but if they lose and San Fran wins, the Niners get it. If both of them lose and Dallas wins, we all die more. Then the 7th seed. Green Bay now controls their own destiny, God help us all. If Green Bay suffers another January home loss, Seattle would have to win to get it. If both the Packers and Seahawks lose, Detroit would slingshot back to the top. It's a lot to digest, and hard to comprehend considering situations. But we must remember... Don't get eliminated! This is the part I've been dreading the most. The injury roundup. God, this is gonna sting.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost. Unit lost.
You may be asking why I put that last name up there. He was a guy who I considered my friend. He was a frequent guest on the Dumpster Fire every Tuesday during football season. We'd go on his stream every Wednesday night just to shoot the shit about football. It felt so casual and relaxed, and I can't believe he's gone, man. He's the reason why I'm releasing Sportsball this week. He'd have this larger-than-life personality that just wanted to bring you in. He loved to learn, he loved to teach, he just loved life. And if I could be even a tenth of the man he was, then I've done something right. Hope I did you proud, man. I love you. I'm gonna miss you, man. I'm sorry. Goodbye, brother.